and other applicable laws. Tonight's hearing will be conducted in the following manner. The Secretary will read the legal notice or state that such notice has been waived. All applications this evening will be heard in the order they were received in the clerk's office or as otherwise designated by the chair. Tonight, we have a very brief meeting, unfortunately, and everything will be heard in the order that they are presented. The chair may limit the length of all remarks. All parties in interest will be given an opportunity to speak either in favor or in opposition to a pending application, and the board may receive similar written communications to be placed on the public record as long as that communication was received within the time limit that is required by the board. The petitioner will be given the opportunity to refute any such remarks. I'm going to just briefly, I have a couple of people in the audience that are looking a little confused, so I'm going to briefly tell you how this works. When it's your turn, you come up to the podium, you state your name and address for the record. You then tell us why you're here. We do have it in front of us, but we like to hear in your own words your reasons and what you're doing and why. The best advice I can give you is if you are putting on an addition, a deck, you want to raise your roof, although I'm not sure you would need a variance to raise the roof, would you? Speak to your neighbors is the point I'm trying to get across. It's not fair to you or to the neighbors to come here, ask for a variance, your neighbors show up and they don't even know what you're doing. It just doesn't make for a happy situation. So for anyone listening and for anybody sitting here right now, whatever you want to do and you need a variance, speak to your neighbors first and let them know. Can you hear me, sir? Okay. So you come up to the podium, name and address for the record, tell us what you want. Great. We will ask some questions usually. We then say, is there anyone in the audience that wants to speak in favor? If you spoke to your neighbors and you get along with them nicely, they'll probably come and tell us how wonderful you are and they have no problem with whatever you're doing. Then we'll say, is there anybody to speak in opposition? Well, tonight we have very, very few people here, unfortunately, but if the auditorium were full, what I would say is come up to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and then tell us why you're opposed. But if I have 15 people coming up to the podium and they all say the same thing, it's not cost effective. So I would then say, come up to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and just say, I agree with the neighbor ahead of me. It's just information for next month, or if you come back next year and you want to know. We then might ask a few more questions, or your attorney or your contractor can come up and speak to the opposers. And then we have a decision to make. We then take a vote. We either approve it or we don't approve it. And I say this every meeting also. If everything we did that came before us got approved, you would not have any need for a zoning board. I also would like to interject that lately I have been paying a lot of attention to other zoning board meetings. And believe me when I tell you, we are a very, very, very fair and lenient board. I'm sorry that we can't approve everything, but that's just the way it is. The zoning laws are put in place for a reason, and our job is to know those laws, study those laws, and uphold those laws. That being said, when the decision is done, it will be typed and filed with the city clerk. Once the decision is filed with the city clerk, there is a 20-day appeal period. In compliance with the open meeting law, this hearing is also being recorded by our clerk. When you're up to the podium, please speak directly into the microphone and only speak when you are at the podium. Please do not speak from your seat. Two other very important things, maybe three tonight. We would like to welcome a new member that we're very happy, very, very, very happy to have, Mr. James P. O'Brien, Jamie, very happy to have you with us. Thank you very much. I'm sure you're going to enjoy this. I also am very, very sad to say that we no longer have Carla McGrath with us as our clerk. She has gone on to a new endeavor in Winchester, but we are very lucky to have with us tonight Miss Lisa Green. Now, I think I'm going to stop talking, and we're going to let the secretary read into the microphone the continuance for number 1.
Good evening. First of all, I would also like to welcome Jamie O'Brien and Lisa Green. And now to the continued application on agenda item number 1, we've received a correspondence. It is dated March 15th, 2024 to the Zoning Board of Appeals. It is regarding 28 Washington Street, and it reads, Dear Chairperson Bisaza Galugi, I represent George Glynos with respect to an application for relief from the zoning ordinance of the City of Peabody. On February 5th, we had a meeting with representatives of the Sutton House, the abutter at 7 Seawall Street. At the meeting, the parties decided there is more to discuss between the parties, and we therefore are requesting a further continuance. Due to travel plans, both business and personal, the governing board of the Sutton House has been unable to convene and share their thoughts with us. Please accept this letter as our formal request that this matter be continued to the meeting of April 22nd, 2024. Thank you for your anticipated cooperation. Very truly yours, John R. Kelty, Esquire.
May I have a motion to receive?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, Attorney Kelty, we'll see you next month on that, April 22nd. We are now on to number 2.
Number 2 on tonight's agenda is the application of Jan and Alan McDonald, care of attorney John Kelty, for variance from the provisions of the zoning ordinance 2020 as amended, sections 7.2 and 10.5, as it applies to the premise known as 3 Judith Road in Peabody, Massachusetts. Petitioner seeks a variance to subdivide parcel of land creating a lot 11B and 11C, and requires relief from buildable lot area where 10,000 square feet is required, and lot 11B proposes 8,438 square feet, and lot 11C proposes 8,314 square feet, frontage where 100 feet is required, and lot 11B proposes 94.04 feet, front yard where 25 feet is required, and lot 11B proposes 29.9 feet, lot 11C proposes 15 feet, side yard where 20 feet is required, and lot 11C proposes 17.8 feet, rear yard where 35 feet is required, and lot 11 proposes 15 feet, minimum buildable lot depth where 35 feet is required, and lot 11B proposes 19.4 feet, and lot 11C proposes 0 feet. Street trees where 2 trees are required per lot and none are proposed. The property is located in R1B zoning district.
Thank you. My name is John Kelty. I'm an attorney. I have offices at 40 Lowell Street here in Peabody, Massachusetts, and I appear on behalf of Jan and Alan McDonald, who are the owners of property at 3 Judith Road. And they appear before the board this evening with a plan that demonstrates their interest in dividing their parcel, which is roughly 18,000 square feet. They would like to divide it into 2 parcels, each being in excess of 8,000 square feet. The remaining number of variances are to bring the existing house into conformity on a new lot. So I'm asking for setbacks and area and frontage for the new lot. I'm for the lot which is to the left, which is going to house the existing dwelling. That lot is on a curvature. We've said that rather than 100 feet, we're going to provide 94 feet of frontage. That is the linear frontage on Judith Road and not accounting for any of the curvature frontage that extends up the adjacent street. Our new lot, which will involve filling in a pool that has seen its last bits of life. The family is grown. There is little use for the pool. My clients would like to fill the pool in, create this new lot, proposing a 50 by, their house lot is, I'm sorry, the structure is actually 50 by 24, 24 feet deep, being very conventional, about as deep as almost every house in the neighborhood. Most of the neighborhood lots are 10,000 square feet. We're slightly smaller than the 10,000 square feet that is in the neighborhood, but we are a little bit unique in the sense that we're an end cap. We have a lot that is unusually shaped in the sense that it narrows at one end where it joins our adjacent streets. And my clients have had the opportunity to speak with most of their neighbors. They've received emails from a couple of neighbors who stand in support. We have two neighbors here this evening that I think you're going to hear from shortly. Our proposal is, if we are granted the variance, would be to build a garrison very similar to, it will fit perfectly, by the way, on the proposed footprint that we're proposing. It would have a garage built into the 50 feet that you see, 50 linear feet. And we're proposing at the current time to build a home that would be a garrison, very, very similar to a home that is at 11 Judith, for two reasons. One is the size and the size that we want, but at the same time, it's also similar to other lots that are in the, similar to other structures that are in the neighborhood. So my client doesn't want to give the impression that it is their choice at this time to build a McMansion, but instead we're going to build a home that is looks, tastes, feels like a one of the homes existing in the neighborhood, and toward that end, we'd likely build a garrison that looks like 11 Judith. We are have family members that are interested in acquiring the existing home. The new area would be, the new home would be 2 stories, as everybody else is in our neighborhood. We will not exceed the height requirement of 35 feet. Within that structure, the first floor will be master bedroom, kitchen area, living space, and master bath. Second floor, 1 bathroom with 2 potential bedrooms upstairs. Might be unfinished for quite some time, but at the same time, that is the intention. We're proposing no additional street trees. If the board would like us to add street trees, we'd be happy to do that. The variance that has been read into the record. Principal portions of the variance we're requesting tonight is the subdivision. Rather than 10,000 square feet, we're proposing 8438 and 8314 as our square footage of our lots. We are happy to answer questions that the board may have this evening, and my clients also are here and would address any questions that you may have following testimony from our neighbors.
I just have a comment. So you said a few times one level living. And I see here under hardship, which it's not a hardship, construction of a single floor living arrangement, and then propose 1 level living unit with extra bedrooms on a 2nd floor. So I'm a little confused. Is this a...
It'll be 2 stories.
2 stories, so that's not a single floor living arrangement and 1 level living So if you have one-level living with extra bedrooms on the second floor, in my mind, it's not like a Campanelli slab. It's, you have 2 floors.
I will have 2 floors.
Okay, so that's just a little,
Yeah, there'd be 2 floors similar to
Confusing
everybody. What I was trying to express was, we're looking for that, as people get older, the stairs become a problem, so we really want, when I reference one-level living, we'll have living space, kitchen area, and master bathroom on that floor, and then upstairs would be 2 bedrooms with the bath, but
so
my
it's not a
clients will
single
be able to
family,
live
it's
in
not a
there.
single-floor
It's-
house?
No.
Okay. That was, okay. Got it. Any comments?
I have a question for Attorney Kelty. What's the current living space in the current house? Is it 1 floor, is it 2 floors?
It's 2 floors. It's also 2 floors, but it's all living space, kitchen, dining room, traditional living room on the first floor, and all bedrooms second floor.
This is
Oh, wait,
concerning.
I misspoke apparently.
This minimum buildable.
This is my client, Alan McDonald.
Hi, good evening. If I could elaborate a little more on the reason I want to have everything on the main level would be because I've had a lot of surgeries lately. I'm still recovering right now. I'm having a hard time going up and down the stairs in the split entry we're at where the kitchen is in the living room. So I live in the ground level, but to get to the kitchen and living room is up and down split entry stairs. So what we're proposing is to do everything on 1 level and have the kids' rooms upstairs, which I really wouldn't even have to go up there.
So I have a question. Maybe it's none of my business, but I suppose it is. The house that you live in now, you can't do some construction in there to satisfy your needs rather than, because you have here, you need, the minimum buildable lot depth is 35 feet. And on one lot you have nothing, and on the other lot you have 17.5. So, you know, I understand your reasons, but on the other hand, you know, I'm wondering if you could spend the money in a way where it might help you better to take what you have already and reconstruct it to make yourself happier the way you need to live. Like redo your house that you're living in. Is that a possibility?
I don't really,
I think it's important you understand that the existing house is a split, so that's what Alan is referring to, you know, with that. So the makeover of a split into what we're
Proposing.
trying is almost like a tear down and rebuild. They don't really lend themselves to taking that split below level and elevating it to the ground floor.
Through the chair.
Yep.
I was actually wondering the same thing, because if we're taking 1 lot that's the basic size of a neighborhood and changing 2 into 2 lots that are
Understood.
that are undersized, I was wondering the same thing. If there was an addition to that structure, that would make more sense.
Oh, that's a good idea. Did you ever think of, can I piggyback on that? Did you ever think to take the house you have now and make an addition to your liking?
we could look into building an addition, but I really, that would probably be a lot more money, I would think.
Said wouldn't have a kitchen space.
Anybody in the audience to speak in favor? Anybody in the audience to speak in opposition? Come on up, name and address for the record, and you're on.
What do I do? All right. My name is George Walsh. I live at 43 Nancy Ave. Been living there for 42 years. All my children were raised in Peabody, went to the Peabody schools. Remember the Kylie? And I'm here to speak in opposition to this project. I share a 180-foot fence line with this property, and I'm upset that the Peabody isn't adhering to this 10,000 square foot rule. Rolling Hills is a beautiful neighborhood, and the people that live here love it, and they don't want it to be changed by this project, and it would change it dramatically. To put a garrison on that property would also affect me very badly. I'd be staring at a wall of windows 15 feet from my fence line. I'd have no privacy. I'd lose all my privacy in the backyard, on my deck, and in my living room windows. The other thing is, he asked for the hardship. I agree with your questions. There really isn't any hardship. He can retrofit that existing house to meet his needs. In fact, if you can get up to the first floor, he's got everything he needs there. Downstairs, they have bedrooms, they have bathrooms, and it's at ground level. So retrofits could work in that particular property. The other thing is, when you build this building, you're also changing the zoning for that area, for that piece of property. You're changing it from a residential into a commercial property by default. And that would mean both of those houses on that lot could be commercial properties. And to be honest with you, I think these houses are going to be sold sooner rather than later. Excuse me, I have a little issue here. So I don't think it's a hardship. I don't think it fits the needs of what a hardship really means. And I agree with the chairman. If he wanted single-floor living, build a single-floor home. And it goes against everything we were told in January when we met him. And by the way, I don't only represent myself tonight. I represent Steve Kapnis at 36 Nancy Ave. I represent Antonio Bordenaro at 2 Judith Road. I represent Bill Nolan at 4 Judith Road. And I represent Kevin at 1 Tumulty Road. These. Okay. Kevin Remington, he's 1 Tumulty. Stephen Kapnis, he's at 36 Nancy. Antonio Bordenaro at 2 Judith. Bill Nolan at 4 Judith. And there are other people who didn't want to be named but are against the project but were afraid of retribution, believe it or not. Okay. And the other thing, and the one that really I want to spell out, I mean, I have other things here because this really upset me, is I'd be losing my privacy in my backyard, which my family, my grandchildren loved it. And I did just invest heavily in repairs to my aging pool and brought it up to snuff. I just finished that. There's so many reasons why not to grant this. Save the integrity of the Rolling Hills property by enforcing the 10,000 square foot rule. Don't change it to a commercial property. That's a dangerous thing to do. Oh, there was something else. What was it? I'm getting there. These pages stuck together. Don't change the character of the neighborhood. The hardship is not a hardship. Allow the neighborhood zoning to stay in place. Don't change the way I have to use my backyard. Yeah, I'd be coming here asking you, can I put up a 15-foot fence? So, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
And you know where to find me. All right.
And you did very well. Would never know that you were afraid to speak. Anybody else to speak in opposition? Yes, sir. Come on up.
My name is Joe Reichman. I live at 7 Judith Road. I just have a question. And if the variance is granted, will that allow other properties to automatically do the same thing?
So that's a very good question. And I don't have a crystal ball. However, in our infinite wisdom, if it were to be granted, that leaves an open door for other people to try to get the same thing or close to it before the board.
Well, then we would be opposed to it because I wouldn't want that what's happening to them to happen to us, you know. Thank you.
Anybody else to speak in opposition? Any other questions or comments for the board?
Madam Chair, just if I could, through you, I believe, I agree with Mr. Walsh. I took a ride up there today, and the first thing that struck me is, how is this going to affect the character of the neighborhood? Because we have to be concerned about that. And I think it would greatly affect the character of the neighborhood. The first thing you come around that corner and there's those big bushes, which are nice, you know, nice big shrubbery. Those will be gone. They want to replace so many feet of shrubbery with no trees. And it would just open up that whole corner. It would take it from sort of closed in and nice to barren, basically. So I think there are other ways that they could get about taking care of the needs of the residents there. Although I sympathize, you know, unfortunately we all get older, but and to his point, we cannot open it up for everybody who has 10,000, who has a large lot to all of a sudden double the number of houses that are in that neighborhood. That would definitely have an effect on the neighborhood. So I'm afraid I can't go with this one. So thank you.
Mr. O'Brien.
You could hit the right number. I know that area very well. I plowed snow in that area for 40 years. It's a difficult corner at best, especially in a big storm. There's not much place to put snow in that area. It's much tighter than it looks on this map. And I just feel like it would really hurt the neighbors. So.
Okay. Any other comments by the board? Do you have anything?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Couple of things. We're happy to provide, there are some aged trees on the line between ourselves and Mr. Walsh, who was the first party that testified. We're happy to provide either fencing or renewed tree plantings along that 190 feet that is common to the both of us in order to provide whatever privacy that we could lend to our neighbor. We object to the suggestion that Mr. Walsh also speaks for another 4 people on the basis that my clients did go and meet with those people, and we did feel there was no threat of reprisal, but we did feel that we did have their support, and that's why they're not here this evening. So notwithstanding, I would just suggest that rather than view that objection as times 4 more, with respect to whether the board has made some sort of precedent that enables everybody to get, I think there are unique characteristics to each thing that appears before you. I don't think you set precedents that you can be bound by. We believe that this lot poses something of a unique situation with respect to the fact that it is shaped. It's much longer than it is deep. Almost every lot in the neighborhood, whether it's 10,000 or 14,000 square feet, is almost a rectangle or square. This being this elongated shape and having the pool located at one end seemed to lend itself to the notion of a subdivision. We stand behind the fact that we are in need of this. We would, as I said, we'd be happy to, if the board felt it more appropriate to try to schedule a meeting, we would do that. Or we're happy to provide whatever trees, fencing, et cetera, that Mr. Walsh may require this evening.
Thank you. The matter is now before the board.
A question. Did we receive these late ads already?
Okay, the matter is now before the board.
Motion to close public hearing? Motion to approve.
Roll call vote.
No.
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 No, I'm sorry, the matter is denied.
Thank you.
We now have an extension request that was brought to us by Attorney Ankeles for Attorney Von Salidas, who is retired now. He would like a 6-month extension on a variance decision dated March 23rd for 48 Pulaski Street, Wesley and Linda Merrill. May I have a motion to extend this variance for 6 months?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Okay. Next is getting to it. Where is it? Okay, let's accept, I need a motion to accept the February minutes.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, any other matters before us? Then we will see everybody on April 22nd. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.